as Molasses Shoofly Pie. This comes to us on page 92 of Sugar Butter Flour, the official Waitress pie book, under the section Chocolate and Nut Pies. 'Tis the season for all of the bugs of the world to go inside of your house, so I thought what better recipe to make than Shoofly Pie. A recipe that is actually a breakfast staple with the Pennsylvania Dutch, which, when you think about it, makes a lot of sense. The active ingredient in Shoofly Pie is blackstrap molasses. Talk about bravery. For this recipe, we need to roll out a single basic pie crust pastry. Blip. Very delicate. Pinch and fold. Crimp the edges. Chill this for a half hour so the fats solidify. Partially blind bake the pie shell. While the crust is cooling, we're making a caramel sauce, starting with a cup of sugar, a fourth of a cup of brown sugar, and 2 tablespoons of water in a saucepan. Whisk to combine, slap in there 8 tablespoons of butter, and melt this over medium-low heat. Fire! And just whisk it all together till everything is smooth. Raise the heat to medium, bring this mixture to a boil, and let it boil for 8 minutes. Once it's all bubbling and thick, you're gonna kill the heat and slowly whisk in a half a cup of room temperature heavy cream. This creates a chemical reaction where all of the water boils off from the caramel, but the cream being added back in will create that saucy texture that we want. Turn to the heat and whisk till smooth. Once it's scalding, we add an entire teaspoon of salt and we whisk that in vigorously until it's smooth too. Now we let this cool for a bit. That was very stressful. And then pour it into a glass container to let it cool to room temperature. Though if you are planning to use this long term, you could store it in a mason jar. Now you know how to make caramel sauce. You're welcome. Now we get to make a crumble. A cup of flour, a cup of brown sugar, a teaspoon of ground ginger, half a teaspoon of allspice, and a fourth of a teaspoon of salt. Whisk it up. Already it smells like Christmas. Into the bowl, we cut up 3 tablespoons of chilled butter. And we work this in with our hands. Oh yes, Jenna sure does love her digits! Work it in until it's nice and crumbly. In a separate bowl, we make the filling. 3/4 of a cup of blackstrap molasses. You know, I could have greased the measuring cup so that the molasses comes out easier, but I didn't come out easy, so why should the molasses have it good? A 1/4 cup of dark corn syrup. At this rate, it'll take 20 years, which was how long it took for me to come out, by the way. A tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, as if this recipe wasn't disgusting enough. And 1 very lonely, very dead Aggie! Mix it up. Oh, good God. It looks like a barbecue sauce. Release me. Bring a cup of water to a boil. Pour the boiling water into a heat-proof measuring cup and dissolve into it a teaspoon of baking soda! Soda! I've run out of whisk, so I'm using a fork. While the water is still hot, pour it into the molasses mixture and stir constantly to incorporate it. At this point, it looks less like barbecue sauce and more like barbecue sauce mixed in with coffee creamer. Pour it into the pie shell. Oh God, it's liquidy. This is frighteningly liquid. It looks like it's trying to settle back into itself. Before I was born, my parents had a cat that looked like this. Sprinkle the crumble over top and watch it as it sinks, like my expectations. Every time I put on a new handful of crumble, it jiggles like a waterbed. An artifact from Jenna's childhood that, much like this pie, should have stayed in the past. And then we bake this at 325 for an hour to 70 minutes, because baking it for any less will probably cause this to gain consciousness. It looks upset. And there you have it. Slow as molasses Shoofly pie. Top with caramel to make presentable. Jenna, the chip has sailed. God, it's slippery. This is one of those pies that actually tastes better than it looks, or smells, or literally anything about its description. It feels more like a cookie bar in pie form. This is one of the most bewildering recipes that I've ever encountered. Literally all of the odds were for this being terrible, but it's really not. I could honestly see baking this for someone but not telling them what it is until afterwards. And just to see the absolute look of surprise on their faces when they see something as strange as molasses being made into a appetizing pie. So what are you waiting for then? Go ahead and get yourself your own dang copy of Sugar Butter Flour, the official Waitress pie book, so that you too can make your own version of slow as molasses shoofly pie. Thank you so much for watching Waitress Wednesday today, and I will see you in the next one.